Welcome to Two Shots at a Royalty Check, brought to you by Venmo, Your Money, Your Move, and Liquid Death, Murder Your Thirst. Let's get back into it.
I'm hungry. I haven't eaten today yet.
Yeah,
I'm in the middle of a 20-hour fast.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah,
very nice.
I had a lot of garbage food over the weekend, thanks to performing some events, some shows, some concerts. One of which I got to see you in person.
That's right. I was out and about.
Your physical manifestation.
This weekend.
You left the house.
Was all over.
You were flying solo. You didn't have your person with you.
Spreading the love, as it were.
That's, sprinkling your dust of snoogans.
Oh, it was an awesome show. Got to see you playing with Angie Stevens as the Beautiful Wreck. Were you the Beautiful Wreck that night?
We were. I don't think that was clear to the people, some people that were there.
Yeah.
But the band is called Angie Stevens and the Beautiful Wreck, and it's fine. Who cares? But
I mean, this is like Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, and they're like, we're also the Heartbreakers.
Yeah.
We're like, oh yeah, how many shows have the Heartbreakers done?
Well, when we were Mudcrutch, that doesn't count. Anyway,
but yeah, I got to see Angie after way too long. We kind of came up at around the same time as singer-songwriters. Yes. And she is brilliant and just a lovely spirit and has been through a fuckload of things. And I love her spirit and her songs, like, regardless. Mm-hmm. And so it was great to finally... and then there was COVID and all that. So I haven't really been able to... There was the thing at the Tower that I had tickets to that I was going to go see you guys at. And there was a COVID scare... And so I didn't, shit. And I knew it was like this small enclosed room, and I'm like, I probably shouldn't go in case, because it was like it just happened that day, so I didn't go.
Gotcha.
But this was
understood.
This was in my environs. It was closer to me, and also there was also Wendy Clark and Kate Leroux, two other women who have come through living hell. That I've shared stages with in jail time and things like that. So.
And bail.
Yeah, and you met Childress sitting in with them.
My best friend on the planet.
Yeah, I got some bonus
Chris
Childress out of it.
Yeah. He probably one of the finest guitar players I've ever met in my entire life.
He was really good that night.
Yeah, he's really good.
Like,
and
he was on his shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Dude, I love him so much as a guitar player because he reminds me of 1970 Led Zeppelin, and what I mean by that is, like, you are either going to see the God of Thunder and rock and roll, or he's going to fall over,
and maybe a little bit of both.
And maybe a little bit of both, but the man tries shit. He stretches. He pushes his boundaries, and that's just how he plays. And sometimes it works, and sometimes it gets a little messy. But it's when it works, it is fucking amazing. And I just love that he has that bravado and that courage to do that, because not all players do, to really push into that. And so.
Yeah, and I mean, he was doing like stupidity. 5 songs, and like it was like blues to jazz to then like some sort of fusion shit he was playing in the back, and and I was asking him, like, so which songs are you playing? He was like, I don't know the names of them, but there's this one, and this one, and this one, and then I got that one. And like every now and then during the set, he was running in, and then he'd just go to the bass player and look at her set list and be like, oh yeah, I'm not up yet. Like, that's very much a Childress move. And also a Wendy Clark move to not really have the set, like, locked in.
I forgot that I had played in that venue a long time ago for a UMS. What does the fucking UMS stand for? Underground Music Showcase. That's right. Couldn't remember for a second. And I played with one of my punk bands back in the probably mid 2000s would be 2050, wouldn't it? Anyway, so I'm gonna go with like early 2000s. To play with them there. And Angie says that she played there with another friend of ours who passed away from a really vicious battle with breast cancer. And her name was Amanda Capper. Shout out Capper. And she was a person I played with a few times. And if there was a set list, it was not adhered to.
No.
If there was a song structure, it was not adhered to. It was just you were up there and you were going for a fucking ride, and it was really, really fun. So I'm happy to see that stuff still exists.
Amanda Capper was a fucking rock star in so many ways.
Yeah, so many ways.
Yep. And so is Angie, for that matter. She's a great songwriter
absolutely.
and great player. And a lot of people didn't catch it, but I did. Angie, if you're listening, when he got into rockin' and the hat flew off, and we all knew, and that's so good. Like, so happy
when the hat flies up.
Yeah.
She also had some really wicked fucking like orange tinted 70s sunglasses on the other night that I was like, those are fucking baller. But apparently they disintegrated it. They broke. So I was like, oh no. No, so we're gonna have to. I'm gonna find her another pair.
Yeah, I still don't know whether Kevin still owns that place.
Oh,
I still don't know.
Kevin,
maybe you ask Angie who paid her. But like the last time I was there was a piano on the floor. Everybody's put in the corner, and like I played a little bit with who did I play with? Sean, I think, from the Samples.
Oh, Sean Kelly?
Yeah, he was doing like a night. And so sometimes I would get called to come in and do my little acoustic bullshit. And there was a door, like the stage, there's still the door there, but the stage was on the ground, and like the door goes right back into the freezers. And I was like, so that's the green room, huh? Okay, cool.
Yep.
But they're doing a good job. Bar 404, by the way, is what it's called.
Yeah. Bar 404. Very, very fun. Very fun evening. Delicious beverages. I had some good tequila, and it kept coming. And as you can hear, I kept it going.
I drank them out of Corona. By the end of the night, Dave Barber and I were drinking out of plastic cups.
It reminds me of the days. Yes.
I'm
back
like, you
in
can
the
keep
days.
the lime. I'm good.
Yeah, it's good. Oh, you don't do the limes in the Coronas?
Not in a plastic cup. No, thank you.
That's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair.
I don't know. It's kind of a bougie move, I guess, but
it is bougie, but that's okay.
I was like, we're down to a plastic cup. I'm at a college party now. I don't give a fuck. Like, I know this isn't a full beer, by the way.
You're doing a keg stand. Yeah, it's fine.
But it was a good night, and I got a Tommy Nahulu hug.
Oh yeah,
to hang out with Heath Volmer.
Yeah,
great drummer for Sonic Highways.
Yeah, they've got a show coming up at the Oriental, July 12th. I'm going to be at that one. I believe my girlfriend is singing a couple songs with them that night, too, so that'll be fun.
Yes, he does not understand why she's with you. He asked her, like, what are you doing? Do you know him?
Heath asked that question? Well, that's fair.
So are you sure?
Yeah.
Where did you go after? Did you have another gig after?
No, we had some friends in town, and we had to do some I don't even know what the word is, but there's some stuff that needed some wrangling, and so we had to. The music venue was not the place to do that, unfortunately.
No.
So,
you know how I am. I am John Mulaney through and through. I do not do a secondary location.
Yes,
it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah,
some friends of mine went out the night before, and it was told to me that there was going to be a secondary location. They were going to happy hour
there's
at
not.
a friend's bar, and then something else. I was like, well, then I will be here.
I will be here.
And I appreciate that, because then I'm not put in the position of like, well, you guys have fun. I'm taking an Uber home. Oh, speaking of which, really fun thing on the way down in my Uber. The Copa America was happening. This is for football fans, soccer. Mm-hmm. And my driver was watching it as he was driving. Had a little TV down by the stick shift. I snuck a picture. It's on Instagram. But he's about to take a left onto Lincoln, which you're not supposed to. Thank God, it was only like basically 2 turns to get there.
Yeah.
And so he didn't fuck it up that much, but it was a hairy trip. So don't take an Uber during a Copa match. Maybe. We had an Uber. We were going to, I think it was the night I didn't want to lose my parking spot at a venue. So we were taking an Uber back, and dude was driving, and instead of having like a clip for his maps, he was holding it in his hand and just drag. And you're just like, okay, man. Yeah. I told him, I was like, you can turn up the sound. Yeah. You need to watch. And plus, he did have his phone on the clip. So, I mean, It was like there was a whole lot of distracted driving going on.
Yeah, there's been a lot more of that lately, and I'm still asking the question of people. You do still have to pass a test to drive a car, right?
I don't think so. I mean, not a real one. I think you just have to like sign an affidavit that says, "Yeah, I've done a bumper car. It's cool."
Yeah,
I mean, you know, Denver cops aren't busting people for speeding anymore or for whatever. I don't know.
No,
who knows?
I watched a dude blaze down on his motorcycle. He's probably going 130 on his dick rocket. And he was in the HOV lane, and he pulled around somebody onto the shoulder of the HOV lane to blast past him. Did right past the cop.
As you do.
Cop didn't fucking move.
No.
It's like, okay. But anyway, we are done griping about this. Has been State of Bullshit with Michael.
Hey, we didn't talk about the weather.
We did. It's fucking chilly today. Anyway, no, I had to. By the way, I apologize for being a few minutes late, but I had to wait for our favorite pastime, asshole with a leaf blower, to walk by.
Yes, the leaf blowers are out today. I have in my building tomorrow. It's going to be so awesome. I'm so excited about it.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. There's going to be concrete breaking.
Oh, my God.
Starting at 8 a.m. There's going to be, and I don't know, like if you live in a building when there's concrete being broken, everybody hears it. Everybody feels it.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of, it's so funny because like this is sort of for a plumbing fix and stuff. And it's a major fucking deal. And when this kind of stuff happens, it's so funny because like the plumber people, commercial plumbers in buildings and stuff, they're like, well, I mean, we start at 8 a.m. and we'll go to 6 o'clock and, most people will be at work by then. And I'm like, this isn't 1997.
Yeah.
Like there's a good 40 or 50% of the people work in their homes now.
Yeah.
Like this is going to be disruptive. It's like super duper disruptive. So if you are recording a podcast in Capitol Hill tomorrow, don't.
Yeah. Do not do it.
Yeah, don't do it. Wait until midnight.
Don't do it. Yeah. We had the dog, the child and I had to move our car. Well, I had to move my car at like fucking.
I was like, what car does Van Halen have?
Well, he's got a little radio flyer he rolls around in. Because they were restriping the parking lot. Now they were restriping the parking lot, and so, but like what they did is they said, you have to move your car by 8 a.m. or we're going to tow you out of the zone. Now we're going to move you in the parking lot. We're not taking it away. We're going to charge you $300 per vehicle to tow it. Yeah. So you get a bill for $300. Dude, they moved no less than 15 or 20 cars every single day that they paved. Yeah. Right? And it's like, I got to think that they're all taking a cut of this. So what do you think they made it off of all that? I mean,
they don't, because like it just is it's so hassle. You know what it is? I can tell you this from personal experience because I've had to be a part of that as a president of a board. Ding. But yeah, basically, this is Stu saying I was married twice. I'm president of a board. But so what it is it is absolutely a fucking, it's a penalty for people not reading. Because you were probably given notices like a week ago and then 3 days ago and emails and then shit put on your car.
We were given one flyer on the door 1 month ago.
Okay, so yeah. But like no one read it.
I read it.
Well, not those 18 people though. You know what I mean? Like those people are like, but... Look, you got to be really good with the communication in everything, but like, I swear to God, people don't read anymore. Just how often communications go out about something. This just happened with me. Let's get it back to music. So someone wants me to do this, like this, by the way, this has nothing to do with something that's coming up in Denver, just so you know, if you're listening, Guy. We're still going to have that conversation later this week. But I was asked to do like a thing on streaming for a conference about here was the question. What's the one thing musicians can do to increase their streaming revenue?
Ooh.
Now, I don't know if you know my answer to this.
I don't.
But I can give it to you very quickly. And It is this. There is no one fucking thing you can do, and stop being reductive about it. It's making people feel stupid. And so of course I reject it. Because this is what conferences do all the time. What's the one thing we can do to increase our revenue on touring? And like, go ahead, you have 2 minutes. Oh, I have 2 minutes to tell you about all of the things that a musician or a band or an artist or whatever, a management needs to do that they're not doing. And then to tell you what to do once you do the things you're not doing. And it's like, yeah, I basically was like, you don't want me on this panel because I'm going to be, I know what I know what the answer is. I know what the answer you want is. The answer what you want is to run meta ads and drive people to Spotify. I know what your answer. I know what you want. But that's not the fucking answer. And like, what do you mean streaming revenue? Were you trying to make $20 more? $400 more? Or are you trying to make a living? Because that's a whole year-long process. You know, it's like all of these things. I was like, it's a longer answer. So they got all pissy with me. Oh. And I sent them this thing, this like bullet pointed thing. So she gets on the Zoom with me and she's like, well, okay, so here's what we're looking for. We're trying to get this answer to this question, which is what's bringing me back to this. So you didn't fucking read what I sent you.
Yeah.
That's basically what it was. Didn't fucking read it. And now you want me on a Zoom call to talk to you. Yeah. Yeah. And so, I mean, and I thank you for loving my dulcet tones, but like tones?
My dulcet tongs?
Yeah, tongs. Nice thong. Yeah, I know you want to hear my voice. Thank you very much. Baby. I really appreciate it. But NPR is off the air this weekend, and now I have a fucking Zoom call on Saturday. And just...
Oh, dear.
I don't care for it. They don't read. People don't read anymore.
I used to deal with that's actually something, especially when I'm dealing with session people. No, I do this. So if you've seen me occasionally, I will post on the social medias. I've got an event pop up. I've got three of the five musicians that are available, my usual guys that are available. I've got 2 people that I'm 9 deep on my subs and I can't find somebody. So I'll post something on Facebook. I'll ask for 4 specific things. I will ask you to send me a direct message. I will ask you to send me a link to a YouTube link to some. I want you to send it in the message. I want your contact info, and I don't want you to do it in the comments.
No,
I don't want to discuss it here.
Yes,
because it's a private event, and I don't want you to like get on there and get on your bullshit. So, and the number of people that will comment, "What's the gig? What's the gig? What's the gig? What's the gig?" Like, you didn't read the fucking directions. Send me a message. Send me a link to things of you performing, because it's not just me I'm dealing with. I have business partners.
Yeah.
And they're helping me make this decision. Now, ultimately, it's my company, and I get to have the final say. But I've got people who I work with that get to make the decision with me. And so I share the information in my little group, and the number of times that people just don't read the directions.
Or like, I've seen this too on your posts like that, where you're like, looking for a fiddle player and this, the blah, blah, blah. And someone will just put in and tag somebody like Mackenzie, or like somebody that you fucking know that you play with. Like, you don't think I asked her?
Yeah. That doesn't bother me. I know they're trying to help. I know, here I go. I just hope both teams have a good time. But again, the directions are very specific. I need 3 things from you. I need your contact info, I need a direct message, and I need links to see you perform. And I need them not in this public. Yeah, well, it's funny because there are certain people that I have asked that I have performed with, people that I've recorded with. You would need that, but it's not just about that. It's like, and I will ask them, these particular gigs they're very specific things that I need from these people, and it requires a little bit more conversation that I do not want to do in a public Facebook forum.
No, I don't think people get that.
Do you remember I don't know if you ever had a teacher like this, but in school I remember having this test where the instructions are very clear. Write your name at the top, write the date, read through the test before you complete it, right? Yeah. And there's 7 questions. And you read through all 7. By the time you get to question 7, it says, "Please do not answer questions 1 through 6. Let me know if you did that, yes or no." That's the whole fucking test. The teacher wanted to know if you were paying attention.
Yeah.
Read through the entire test beforehand. And so if anybody who answered questions 1 through 6 got an F, and anybody who just answered question 7 got an 8. You know,
I didn't have as much of that because, as you know, I was homeschooled as a religious person.
You're still homeschooled, baby.
I'm just kidding. All right, so let's get to some quick music news.
Yes, please.
That was good stuff. I want to start out. So Spotify is adding a low-tier basic thing for $10.99, and this has no audiobooks or basically like the fan tools to it. Like you can't buy the merch and that kind of stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
But basically, this is like Spotify listened. And they know that not everyone wants the audiobooks put into that premium tier because it's going to kill songwriter pay. I don't know if, again, people have to read to get this to be like, I want the one without audiobooks. You know,
the title of this one's Read, damn it, right? That's the name of today's
obviously
podcast.
They're going to take whatever they get, you know, so it doesn't really matter. But look, we like to be fair on this to Spotify and to others.
Do we?
And this was a good move. This is a good move.
Yeah. That's a good one.
It's a fair thing. Speaking of the other monster streamer, Apple Music, on the iOS 18 update, I guess it's coming out in September. I've seen the beta. So this is for Apple users. There's a crossfade function. Now, there's always been a crossfade function on your music stuff. You would have to go into About and to Sound and then change it.
Yeah.
And you can do a crossfade. So if you're listening to your own playlist or whatever, it doesn't just end the song and then a moment of silence and begin a song. You can do like sort of a 2-second fade out. So like if you're running a party, this is really cool. Like for me,
the music doesn't stop.
Yeah. And my significant other and I, we like to do like we like to do this thing where, you know, slam a bunch of beers and then we'll like pick music back and forth and try to pick the song that goes to the last song and then lead you in a different direction. And it's kind of fun, sort of DJ stuff, but also for like playlist stuff on a patio. This was always a cool thing. It wasn't on Apple Music. And so it's going to be on Apple Music. Sorry, Android, you're fucked. You don't get it. It's going to be for a guy like me
the guy like me that does like events, like now a lot of my like corporate and wedding clients are now starting to send me. I'm getting fewer Spotify playlists these days. I'm actually getting more Apple Music playlists.
Really?
Yeah,
that's
which is interesting to me. That's in that marketplace. That's what I've been getting more of. And so having this for, you know, like break playlists and cocktail playlists is fucking huge because I don't buy all the songs anymore for that kind of stuff. I'm already paying for the family plan for everything else. So, you know,
no, it's a great move.
Yeah,
it really.
A couple of great moves on our streamers this week.
Yeah. And especially for like really weird recordings that have long tail endings and. You know, and like sometimes you have, you know, spoken word intros on some things, and you're like, I don't really need that shit, you know. So yeah, that's a good thing. Another thing I wanted to mention, did you see the Glastonbury thing?
Man, I try to watch as many Glastonbury live streams as possible whenever it's happening.
Yeah.
So I remember seeing Muse there. I remember seeing Robbie Williams. I've seen like the Coldplay one is one you bringing up, right?
Yeah. Well, first of all, Banksy did a pop-up inflatable with migrants that then flew. Then they like crowd surfed it. Big problem going on in the UK about sending migrants back, and you know they're having their own problem with Brexit and Leave and the Tories, and there's a referendum coming up like in a week, I think, on a new government. But so Banksy did this. It was kind of like I don't know. It was a little poor taste. But that's Banksy. What you gonna do? Yeah. And then at the same and that was during Idols. Or whatever that band is.
Yeah.
But yeah, then Coldplay had Michael J. Fox on stage for "Fix You."
Yeah.
And he's done it before, but like this was at Glastonbury.
This was 100 something thousand people
at night.
The sheer size of that crowd.
Oh my God, the flags,
insane. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a band that does a better big outdoor show than Coldplay. And I'm not a huge Coldplay fan. I respect the hell out of them. Yeah. But like every time I've seen it, that shit they were doing in Brazil last year, every time I've seen them do those big outdoor things, they just own that space. And it was good. It got me a little teary-eyed there, Stu.
Yeah, that is probably they did Fix You with MJF, right?
Yeah, they've done Johnny Be Good before.
Yeah.
Which is a little nod to Back to the Future. And so they're friends.
Yeah.
And this time Michael J. Fox was actually in a wheelchair, but like, still funny and playing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like to look at the faces of the people just crying.
Yeah.
In the middle
I will
of
admit,
a field.
that song is I really like that record X and Y a lot from those guys, and that song is one of that outro with the when they hit that tears stream down your face part on the outro. It's like, and that is some fucking arena rock for me. Like, it is
stadium rock.
It's so powerful. Yeah, it's so powerful and it's so good. And I mean I don't know if like what has happened with Chris Martin lately, but he is occupying a very 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 lovely space as a front person.
Yeah.
Right now, and
and just goes to show you, just stick in there, like let everybody throw arrows at you and make fun of you for the wife and the apple and all of the rest of the crap, and just stick in there and do your shit.
Yeah,
and he just is still. He seems unfazed by it. I mean, it's a lot easier now that they're very famous and rich. Yeah, but he also earns it. I mean, when you watch him perform, vocally, he is amazing. Yeah, and he's gotten better.
Really, I agree with that because I remember seeing them early, like in the Parachutes era. Yeah, and it was fine. It was very Brit pop, Brit rock, So a little Gallagher-y sometimes, if you will.
You can tell the accent.
Yeah,
yellow.
The footage of that. I don't know how you do a show like that. Like I've done shows where. To have like having thousands of people sing your lyrics back to you. Yeah. Like I'm watching that drummer on the end of that video and I'm like seeing like the deep emotional connection he has to a small country's worth of people in front of him, Yeah. And I'm emotionally moved by that. I'm sitting there, watching it the other day and I'm like, that to me is like, that's why I like to make music, is to have that connection. Yeah. Now, sometimes y'all piss me off and I don't want to connect with you at all. But those moments when you get to like engage on something that really has that deep emotional connection, it's just fucking cool as shit. Anyway,
and
great
just
footage.
A moment. Like that's something that everyone, I mean, what's beautiful about it is the people there will remember that as a moment in their life, not the time I saw Coldplay in concert. It will just be like the night, the moment, the emotion, the feeling, and that happened. And can I also say, let me just give huge shout outs to the audio engineers.
Oh, God, yes.
The sound. And which means that the in-ear monitors were that good too. Yeah. You could tell the stage sound was good, guitar-wise. You could tell all of the sound was fucking perfect. Yeah. And if you've seen that Rick Beato video about one of the most famous analog mixers out there, I'll tag it in this. Yeah. He was saying the best thing to mix, and he does Rolling Stones, Black Crowes, all of those.
He was just here with the Stones, wasn't he?
He said that the best thing to mix is not stadiums. He's doing all these big stadium stuff now. You don't want to do an arena because, reverb's flying everywhere. He tries to mix it for the guy on the top level, in the back. He was like, the best thing to do is like a festival in a wide open area because there is no sound resistance. So whatever you're giving is what everyone is hearing. Yeah. And you could just tell whoever did that show, front of house, back house, like the whole mix was amazing. Also, the video production. So when you got it back from whoever it was, BBC that was doing the live stream, just spot on. Just everything was great. Everything was great. I bitch about it a lot. And so I like to, when it happens well, I want to make sure that it's pointed out that these people did a great fucking job with something that is nearly impossible to do.
I agree. I agree.
This is when you actually use the word engineering. And you have to understand kilohertz. You have, this has nothing to do with does the drum kick, do well? No, you need to understand 200. You need to understand 1,000. You got to understand that shit.
And you got to understand how those wavelengths travel.
Yeah. And what it's like in an in-ear versus a box monitor and versus, a wedge and turning the amps around and the kind of mics you're using and where the placements are. Just well fucking done all around.
Yeah, it's funny because like I know you said you bitch about it a lot, but the fact of the matter is, when it's done poorly, it is fucking bad.
It hurts. It hurts.
It hurts. It's difficult to watch it. It's difficult to listen to it. But now I believe the Glastonbury team is the same team that's been doing it for fucking ever.
Yeah, I think so.
So they've got it dialed down to it's a fine art, because even like some of the shit from 10 years ago is still. Yeah, fucking amazing,
Yeah, when you see like the Oasis gigs and some of those too, they're still great. I'm so impressed with it, and so I also will dismount this by saying, NFL, get your shit together. I don't ever want to see a referee feeding back. Don't tell me you can't do it. Taylor Swift does it in the middle of 88,000 at Wembley. Don't tell me you can't do it. It may cost a little bit more. You may have to get a little bit of a better mic and hire an engineer, but you can do it. We see it all over the place. We see it with Foo Fighters and Taylor Swift and Glastonbury and Bonnaroo and just all of it. And so it pisses me off that the billion-dollar machine, trillion-dollar machine that the NFL is.
Oh, yeah.
When you hear someone's like, 10-yard penalty. Oh, my God, it kills me. All right, so okay, that's enough of Michael ranting.
No,
let's rant about something else. I'm going to get into a question, but I'm going to finish it off with the last quick music news. None of you were watching this. None of you care. It's a shame because this is your industry. But the American Music Fairness Act was reintroduced back into the Congress for a bill. Bipartisan support, Darrell Issa and Marsha Blackburn. And so there's some Democrats, some Republicans. You'll know Marsha Blackburn. She is a senator from Tennessee, so she represents Nashville. Darrell Issa is from California. There are multiple people involved in this. And basically, it was brought back into the House Judiciary, which is run by the GOP. And this is basically correcting a wrong that has happened in America for a long, long time. When your music is played on AM or FM radio, the artists and the performers do not get paid. Songwriting gets paid. Publishing gets paid. Your BMI, your ASCAPs. That sort of thing gets paid. But unlike every other democracy in the world, when your songs are played on the radio in America, specifically, your music does not pay out for the performers or the artists. So when Aretha Franklin's Respect is being played out, she never got any money for it. And the same, you never got any money for your radio play. I never got any money for mine, other than the songwriting stuff. This was introduced in 2021. Then it was introduced in 2022. Then it was introduced in 2023. Now it has been reintroduced again. There is a little bit of movement on this to where we might actually get something. They had Randy Travis in there. With his wife, Mary, I believe. As you know, Randy had a stroke, and so he can't really speak publicly, but they rolled him in there. And all these older senators in their late 70s were like, oh, my God, Randy Travis. It was, they kissed his ass like, sir, your music has been a big part of the American journey and blah, 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 kiss his ass. But this isn't about Randy Travis. Like, he made his money. He made good money. He's making good money too. It is about like the lower level artists who finally get a breakthrough song on the radio. And it could be an independent song. It could be a label song. It doesn't really matter. But like for your band to make it, this is why sometimes we say the money isn't worth doing a radio campaign for the money. It may be worth it for the promotion. But so look for the American Music Fairness Act. There's movement on it. Again, I will stipulate again, we are the only country in the world that does not pay the performers and the artists for the music that's played on the radio. And the thing is that it's all concentrated, right? Like iHeartRadio owns a majority of radio stations now. Corporations own most of those radio stations. This will not hurt college radio or independent radio. They'll only have to pay like $100 or $200 a year into this, but the rest of them will have to basically pay into Sound Exchange. And so you will get the same kind of money that you get out of digital performances, that you would have on Sound Exchange. But it's hilarious because iHeart, you could actually have a song played on like iHeart or Sirius, or a live broadcast that's simulcast, right, on a terrestrial radio station and a digital radio station, and the digital one is paying and the terrestrial one isn't, for the exact same program, exact same song, exact same performer. And it's so obvious how bad it is. So y'all should care. If you ever want to have a hit, if you ever want to be on the radio, you should care. Now, let's get into the question, because this has to do with this. And I don't think you have this on the rundown. But it's basically SCOTUS rulings, Supreme Court of the United States.
Yes.
Hey, guys, why are you getting so fucking political and not just sticking to music? Yeah, this usually happens in sports, right? Just dribble.
Yeah.
We don't need to hear about what you think about civil rights, LeBron. We don't need to hear what you think about, trade treaties, Aaron Rodgers, whatever. So it's like, just stick to your own fucking lane. Okay, fair enough. But we've been talking a little bit about congressional stuff and about legal stuff that's going on in the country. And the reason why we're doing it is because it does affect you, and I know damn well you're not thinking about it this way. Wherever you are in the political spectrum, and God bless you, vote for whoever you want. Your one vote is your one vote. I really don't care. I think it's like anal sex. Whoever you vote for, that's your business. So there you go. That's the way I think.
I'm not sure how that goes together.
No,
but
that's how it does go together. Think about it. Okay. I don't need to hear about it, but I'm all for whatever you do in the privacy of your own booth. Anal sex. Fair. Okay, so SCOTUS rulings. The reason why this is really important, and you're going to have to follow us here, and Stu's going to kind of ask me questions as we go along, I think.
Yes, I am.
Because I have pounded it into Stu's head to care about some of this shit.
Speaking of anal sex.
Mostly because, speaking of. God, Kelsey put a lot of dings in this in post.
Carry on.
Yeah, you guys thought cocksucker was bad. Cocksucker! Is your son there? Okay, hi. All right, so here's what's going on. This is why you need to pay attention. SCOTUS overturned a ruling called Chevron, which is basically, just stick with me here. This is going to make sense. I'm not just talking about politics and your normal bullshit of Trump and Biden and debates and all that. This is not to do with that. This is your country where you live. This just happened. SCOTUS overturned a ruling called Chevron. And Chevron happened about 40 years ago in the 80s. And it was basically, it gave deference to federal agencies to oversee and interpret laws that are created by Congress where there is no, where there's ambiguity and the specification of how this law should happen. One place where this is where Congress will say, hey, you as a corporation, you can't put green goo that's going to kill me in the water. You can't put asbestos in the water. Or you can't put anything in the water that's going to harm the citizens. All right. So that goes to an agency, the EPA, to basically oversee and basically go, okay, here's what you can't put in the water. Not just you can't put anything that would hurt somebody. That's ambiguous, right? You can't put asbestos. You can't put nuclear waste. You can't do. So they have to go through a whole list and then put fines to it and kind of some teeth behind the law. Because Congress, they're fucking politicians, and so they're not experts on all this shit. They can say, don't harm the citizens, and if you do, we're going to fine you to prevent you from doing it, okay? So then a federal agency is the one that has to oversee what that actually means. You let the experts in the room, and they go, okay, yeah, you can't put this kind of hydrofluorocarbon in the water. Okay, yeah. So that's what that is. Now, what this means is that overturning Chevron means that federal agencies don't get the deference to make those rulings anymore, and it has to go to courts. This is a fucking stupid ruling. I'll just say it up front. And I've talked to many legal scholars and lawyers, and I'm also possibly going to go for the bar in California. But here is the reason why. Courts are already packed. Courts are also appointed. Yeah, and like judges are appointed by Congress or by the president. They like, especially in the district courts and when you get to the federal level. And of course, a judge isn't going to be a fucking expert on water or say something like copyright. So this is where it comes to your life as a musician. Well, I mean, we can start with clean air, safe water. Then we can go to education. What does education, like the right to have education as a child, mean? Whether or not music is involved in that, probably not going to be anymore by federal law, because they want to get rid of the educational department, the Department of Education that oversees this. That will go to the courts. The courts will basically be conservative run and go, no, we want homeschooling. We want more Jesus in our schools. Not religion, Jesus, right? It's just Jesus. They don't want more Muhammad. They don't want more Buddhism. They want more Jesus. Then you can also say healthcare access. So say you're a musician and you have an independent healthcare with like Obamacare. That is now threatened because that's under the health department. And the health department actually says what's better for the citizenry. That will go to the judicial now, and the judicial people will say, well, I have a lifetime appointment. I have healthcare. Fuck you. I don't really care about how you get it. Go get a job. Then it will go to the labor rights people, right? So unions, that's under the NLRB. So when you have a musicians union or the union of pipe fitters or the union of the people that run your shows and concert venues or the union of the people that run the lights or the audio stuff, that's going to be threatened too, because you could have one corporation that just basically sues and says, yeah, I don't think you should have rights to have like a safe workplace. The capitalism will take care of that. We don't want dead people. We don't want all that stuff. So why would the company care whether or not you have a union? We're going to go ahead and fight that. And it will go not to Congress, not to the National Labor Board. It will go to a court. And how do you think a judge will rule on that? Well, they want less red tape. These corporations need to be able to do what they want to do. Okay, now let's get really granular for you guys. Music stuff, okay? This is where monopolies come in. The lawsuits with the DOJ going on with Live Nation and Ticketmaster over the monopoly thing, well, that is under the Department of Justice, and that is an administration of the government. This will now go to a court to decide that instead of the Department of Justice or the Federal Trade Commission, because they will say, well, the court now gets to have deference over this instead of the experts who will say, oh, you know, reselling tickets hurts the consumer or it hurts the artist or it hurts the performers, whatever. They'll say, well, no, Live Nation and Ticketmaster are publicly traded on the stock market. It's going to hurt the stock price, you guys. Then it also goes to safety at concerts. Okay, safety at concerts may be decided by one or two lawsuits by venue owners who don't want to have all this damn government overreach because it costs them so much money. And they will put it into a lawsuit and say, we're having to pass that price on to you in ticket sales and make it a consumer thing. But no, that's not what it is. They will have to pay less money. Okay, now let's get super fucking granular. The MLC and the Sound Exchange, as well as the Copyright Board that decides how much money you get every time someone covers your song, every time someone plays your song on Spotify for a mechanical royalty, is overseen by the Copyright Royalty Board, which is underneath the Library of Congress, which works in concert with the Department of Justice. And also the FBI to a certain extent, but also some other federal agencies. So if Spotify or Warner or Sony or whomever wants to fight and go, you know what? We shouldn't have a compulsory license. My Beyonce song is worth more than Stu Miller's song. And it shouldn't be 9.1, 10 cents per copy, whatever the number is. It shouldn't be that. I should get more for Beyonce if you cover it than his shitty song. And you don't get to have a blanket agreement basically breaking up what is called phonorecord. Phonorecord is section 115 of a copyright thing. None of you will understand what the fuck I'm saying, and you can start Google this. But basically, it is the whole underpinning of why independent musicians are making any money at all. Why you get any money from streaming is because of a compulsory mechanical rate. Why you get any money from your PRO is because of a compulsory blanket 100% license. So rather than ASCAP going, we're going to license John Mayer and Barbra Streisand and Two Live Crew and, these people, but we're not going to license anyone that was not on a major label deal before 2010. And that means you have to call Spotify, Apple, Deezer, Tidal, Amazon, Google. You have to do the license personally. No more blanket licensing. This also means that it may blow up the whole underpinning of mechanical and performance digital royalties too, going into Sound Exchange, which, if you remember this from 10 minutes ago in this podcast, was the American Music Fairness Act, which is going to be instituted under the Copyright Royalty Board, which is under the Office of Copyright, which is under the Library of Congress, which is under the Department of Justice. This is the conservative fever dream to break up the administration of government and make it so small that it doesn't work for anyone but a large corporation or their donors. And so I know that sounds like a liberal position. It's just the position. This is just what it is. You can call it whatever you want, but Chevron being overturned is going to, at the very least, it's going to paralyze administrative functions of the federal government that helps everyday normal people. Whether it's your clean water, whether it's the education program, whether it's National Department of Transportation, all of those government agencies. By the way, there might also be a thing where the IRS is bullshit, because that's what they want to do, is make sure that these conservative donors don't have to pay taxes, don't have to adhere to capital gains, all of that sort of thing. You would just pay taxes in your state. Now, that's what the other thing that would happen with this is it just goes down to the state level, which is what they want, right? And the last time we did that, that's when slavery was happening. That's when slavery was happening. Now, Chevron, for those of you who are on the conservative side and you're listening to the conservative people, we will also say Chevron was not in effect before the 80s. And we got along fine, didn't we? Kinda. If you lived in the 70s and you saw how much fucking pollution there was and how many children were dying from asthma, no, we didn't. There were a lot of problems that it fixed. So that's what's happening. Now, here's the positive side. Okay, there's a little bit of a positive side. Are you a weed smoker? Well, marijuana, cannabis is still legal federally. It's legal in some of the states, but what a weird patchwork we have of that. You can be in Colorado and buy a shitload of weed and get arrested at the border of Kansas and still go to prison. It's fucking weird. But the U.S. federal government still will not. They still haven't made it legal. They may say it's less penalties or it's not as illegal, but it's not legal. And why is that? Well, it's under what agency, Stu? The DEA, which is also working with the DOJ. Well, the DEA says that cannabis is illegal for what reason? They don't know. They just say it kind of is a drug and it may be a problem. It's not a Schedule II anymore. They can't really prove it. And that is exactly what Chevron did, is that it's the deference to the administration agency to say exactly why it's illegal or legal. If they can't, a court will rule, if you can't prove that it's illegal and for a good reason, other than you just want it to be, then we may just say, well, this law is bullshit and you can't enforce it anymore. So they may have just legalized cannabis. They also may have just legalized mushrooms and cocaine. Without knowing it. I will tell you right now, today, it is a Monday when we are recording this. I've spoken to maybe 2 or 3 lawyers who know of maybe 10 other lawyers who are involved in immediate lawsuits to start this process over multiple prongs.
Wow.
You start this lawsuit based on a corporation. It's going to work its way up into a district court. If the district court doesn't rule, it will get kicked up to the SCOTUS. Just thousands of lawsuits are coming. Paralyzed is what's going to happen. Here's the other thing. If you disagree with the MLC and Sound Exchange, If you disagree that music should have a compulsory blanket, that anyone should be able to record a song that's already been released, well, you just might get your way. Because this might actually blow up the MLC and the Sound Exchange. And, by the way, the Music Modernization Act, which is a major act that did not specify shit in it. I've read it 4 or 5 times. There are tons of things not specified that go to the Copyright Royalty Board. And so that is same thing with PROs. To have a consent decree on BMI, who then sold out to a venture capitalist, this could blow up all of PROs too. And I know that you guys have probably heard people that will get crazy about this shit, right? This sounds alarmist and you don't think it could happen in this country. And I am just telling you, there are a lot of places in this country where women are going to jail for a miscarriage. Now, that is the country you live in. The SCOTUS rulings have done that. It is happening right now. So this ruling, which was a conservative fever dream to take it away, and they often don't think about the complete outcome of this. You can't parse it out. Chevron is now overturned. And it is the law of the land as of today. So this is starting. You should be aware of it as a musician, especially if you're young and you're starting out. You may think that it's just your right to be able to upload a song to Spotify and get paid a certain amount of money. That may go away. You may think it's your right to just be able to get your performance royalty from BMI and ASCAP because you got in there, and that just may go away. So just so you know, be aware of it. There's nothing you can do now. Nothing you can do unless we pack the courts. So, any questions, anybody? No? All right, let's get on to... No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, I think I only have... I mean, I understand exactly what you're... I mean, I understand what you're saying, and I understand what you're talking about. My only question is... Yeah, that was it. That did well on that front. My question is... What did they give as their reasoning for overturning this?
It's not based on constitutional law. It was based on basically the overreach of agencies having more power than Congress to write the rules. And in the absence of Congress writing those rules, they believe that the judiciary should have more power than an administration that changes with political parties.
Okay.
Now, the problem is that Congress does not have the expertise.
No.
Neither do the judges. But what they're saying is that basically it's an overreach of government power to have an administration that is not duly elected enforcing rules and laws on the citizenry, and what they mean by that is the corporations. And because they have people in the EPA who understand hydrofluorocarbons saying, those are bad for people. We shouldn't have these. Or whatever it is, whatever the thing is. Asbestos. Asbestos is a really, really, really good example where asbestos was still being used, is still being used. It is still being used today. Because people will still be buying drywall that is imported from China, and they get away from it through the tariffs. But the EPA says you can't use it in new construction in these ways, and they skirt the law a little bit because the corporation wants to make more money. So the conservative point of view about this, to be fair, the conservative point of view about this is that too much government overreach slows down corporations, and therefore it's too costly and it's bad for the bottom line. If it wasn't, they could hire more people. There would be more jobs. There would be more wealth created. And it's too much red tape. It's undue process on corporations and people. They are not thinking about safety. They are not thinking about citizenry. And they believe that the judiciary should be the ones who write the rules, which is fucking crazy to me. If anyone has sat through court cases recently or listened to a judge, they don't have time for this. They're reading caseload. Yeah. How are you going to understand copyright? How the fuck are you? I talk to musicians and managers and label people all the time, right? Every day, it seems, every week at least. And I constantly come across people who are like, people have 10 million streams this week who don't understand that Spotify doesn't pay artists, right? These are people in the industry that do it for a living, and they don't know what I know. How are you going to expect a judge to know that? Yeah.
Well, it's, I mean, the same thing you're getting when you do these copyright infringement classes, or with songwriters, like like the Ed Sheeran case, the Katy Perry cases, all those, the fucking Coldplay Joe Satriani case, like asking a jury of your peers, who are none of whom are experts in music, to analyze and interpret melody, chord progression, and lyric. It's like asking my dog to recite Shakespeare.
Yeah, and I think what everyone should understand about this, I know this sounds alarmist, I really do, but what you should understand about it is that corporations that have IP, intellectual property, and that means sound recordings or music publishing, and especially big multinational corporations, they must fight for the exploitation of that IP. They must. It's not a choice. So now that this is an opening, these lawsuits will be filed and start making their way through it. And it may be one of the majors. It may be a major publisher that says, hey, look, all the publishing that Universal owns, we think that's worth more than what Michael St. James owns. We think that should be worth more. This could break up Most Favored Nations, which is like a substantial part of music sync licensing. So anyway, take a look at it. And there you go. I know you come here for all of your legal, news and SCOTUS.
But it does. Again, this is a podcast about making a living in music, and if you make a living with your music, which both Michael and I do, it is important to know this shit.
And I'm not being alarmist when I say you may not be able to make a living in the next 5 years as an independent. You may only have the choice of signing with a major. Now, that doesn't mean you can't play live shows or whatever, but like the shit that we do on the recording side, on the publishing side, we are using the federal guidelines, the federal framework of copyright to get that money. To get those, when we talk about collecting pennies on ASCAP and BMI and MLC and Sound Exchange and how your mechanicals work and your performance royalties and blah, 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 that may be all, well, that was fun. Because think about it. If you're Spotify, if you're Apple, if you're Sony, if you're UMG, we are all just a fucking bother to them. We're taking part of the royalty pool. Any money you make as an independent is less money that Drake makes. Just know that. Now, for the most part, most of you aren't doing it right, so you're not making enough for it to matter. But when you take it all together, if they can niche out, that something like $27 million a year, 72 million over most of them, and then split it amongst the three of them plus Merlin. Now, that's the good thing. We do have one Merlin that we can sign up for. It costs a little bit of money. You got to have some sales. But more so, I think I just want everyone to be aware that music is touched by politics, and it's going to be an issue coming up. It's just going to be, and you're not going to see where it's coming from. Like I say, it might be the OSHA stuff with unions working in venues. It might be ticket sales stuff. It may be an added tax to how you sell merch. It may be something to where, when you're selling merch in venues, and we were able to push back when the venue said, oh, if you're selling it in my venue, I get 50%. And a lot of people pushed back, and we were able to kind of basically drop it down and be, no, this is my merch. Yeah. That could go away too. So there's a lot of things that could go away. Don't quit music. Music's still important. Yeah. But you need to be aware of all this before you start investing in stuff. So there you go.
Agreed. That was a delightful rant.
I know. I'm sorry to be the bearer of this fucked up news, but there's also another way out of it. Pack the goddamn court. We don't need to have 9 Supreme Court justices. We could have 13 or 14. And if the Democrats win and we get more people back in there that want to, judges that will actually rule on behalf of the citizenry over corporations. This is a corporate court. They legalize bribes. I know you guys haven't been looking at this. Bribes were legalized last week. You can tip a justice after they rule in your favor. That is legal now. Legal. That's legal, dude. Today, there's an immunity agreement where the president is immune. Basically, the president is now the king. So just so you know, that's the country you live in. I know you're not going to think about it and it's not going to feel anything to you until it affects you personally. This stuff might affect you much more personally and much more quickly than, say, like something that happens with the, Environmental Protection Agency or whatever. This may be something to where you'll see headlines around music and entertainment. This is going to affect movies and how movie theaters. I mean, it's just. Don't talk to an entertainment lawyer today because they're busy. You will not be able to get off the phone with them. Yeah. About like how hard this is going to be. So there you go. Let's get to the sink of the week and I'll shut up. Sink of the week. Stu, you go first.
Okay, so you know how much I love The Boys. I'm giving another one from fucking last week's episode.
Holy shit, really?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Because I was holding one back because I thought for sure you picked it. So good. Go ahead.
You were holding one from The Bear this
of
new
course.
season? Yes. I've not started it yet because I'm rewatching seasons 1 and 2 again.
Okay. Well, then I'm going to drop mine.
Yeah, please drop yours.
Just one, because I don't want any spoilers.
My sink of the week was a piece played beautifully comedically in The Boys episode 4 of season 4 of Love Lift Us Up Where We Belong. That took place on the Vought network. It was, obviously the Jennifer Warnes Joe Cocker song from, I can't remember what fucking movie that's from. That Dirty Dancing? I can't remember.
I think so.
It is Dirty Dancing? Okay. To correct me if I'm wrong, it's fine. The internet will. But it is sung by Firecracker and The Deep. That's Chase Crawford as The Deep and Valerie Curry as Firecracker. And it's played on they're doing a live stream that's like kind of it's played like as this giant, people are out there watching them. You hear cheers and stuff like that. And as they're singing this song, and there's scenes where they pull away and they show the stage and they show the media truck next to it. And there's nobody in front of the stage. And there's this big dramatic performance going on. It is very, very funny. It's very reminiscent of certain experiences we've seen with certain politicians lately where they're waving to nobody in the street. It's very, very funny. And it is so delightfully tongue-in-cheek and ridiculous. It's a fucking great show. And that is Michelle Johnson and Yvette Matoyer again as our co-soups on that one. It's so bad. It's performed so badly. And it is so good. And, anyway.
So how far are you on that right now?
I have not seen last week's episode of episode 5 that just came out, but okay. because it's summertime, I'm on dad duty 4 days out of the week, and then I'm working a 50-hour work week between Friday and Monday. So it's I'll make it 8 minutes into a show and I'm asleep at night. So
amen, brother.
No, you feel my pain.
I do. I love it.
So yours is from one of the finest shows on Hulu.
Yes, The Bear is out.
We're back, baby.
We're back, season 3. By the way, Love Lift Us Up Where We Belong, An Officer and a Gentleman. Joe Cocker
Thank you very
and
much.
Jennifer Warnes.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
Perfect Cocker impersonation, by the way.
Okay, yes, fantastic. I thought for sure you would have a bear one, and so I'm gonna steal this one because I'm almost all the way through it. I really wanted to. Okay, when you start watching this season of The Bear, it's seriously the best show on television. I'm not going to give away anything because I want you to experience it if you haven't seen it. It's on Hulu.
Yeah.
And you do need to watch the previous seasons before you watch this. You cannot just join in. But you will be rewarded. It is so theatrical this season. It is just immersive. It asks a lot of you, but you get payoff immediately.
Fantastic.
And again, another show in Chicago. I keep saying Chicago's having a moment. There's just so many shows from Chicago, and this is obviously one of the premier ones. And so there is a lot of Chicago-based songs around it. We talked about it in previous podcasts. And so there is an excellent drop in this one. Save It for Later, which was a song by the English Beat, a cover by Eddie Vedder.
Oh, hell yes.
And it is a brilliant cover. First of all, it becomes poignant, and it is it changes the emotion of it. But because it's Eddie Vedder, it's Chicago-ish. I know a lot of you think Eddie Vedder was born in Seattle. He wasn't. Chicago.
He wasn't.
Yeah. So we've been through this. Anyway, Eddie Vedder. So anyway, Save It for Later, English Beat, and I would suggest to you to go search Save It for Later, Eddie Vedder. It's out. If you want to hear it on its own, you can. It's a great cover on its own. This was very much like sort of a English Beat was like sort of a weird synth band in the 80s. And this was a cool song, but it was a weird song. It was you had to like those kind of songs. Save it for later. That's the way it sounded. Okay.
Very English. Yes.
So, but you'll. I think everyone can dig this song, and of course the placement is great. It also reappears as a theme throughout it, so I'm not ruining anything. It's all throughout a few of the things. It's like sort of a like an established needle drop. Music supervisor Christopher Storer, who is also the creator and director of the blah, blah, blah. And co-executive producer Josh Senior. So again, two supers. A lot of two supers happening. And so, but Christopher is like such a part of, like he starts with the music on a lot of it. He goes to Jeff Tweedy or to whomever.
Wilco, it's all over it.
He's gone all over to them. We're like, hey man, if I don't get this, I can't do the fucking show. And so, Anyway, it is, I will just say Jamie Lee Curtis is a fucking national treasure. So there you go.
Yes. Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm excited to get into it.
You should really watch The Bear. Everyone should watch The Bear because you don't want it to be ruined, and it will be ruined soon for you. So I don't want to ruin it for you. So there you go. There's your sync of the week, everybody.
All right, let's wrap this shit up. Oh, wait, that's your line. Go for it.
No, you can go ahead. All right, everybody, let's wrap this sucker up. Hey, everybody, make sure to check out StuMillerMusic.com. As you just heard, he's out playing live. He's recording stuff. He just finished out like a little punk record. He's got a bunch of shit going on. He can do music consulting for you. What don't you do, Stu? I don't know.
Anal sex.
Anal sex. Check out Stuart Music. StuMillerMusic.com, wherever you get your Stu Miller music. You can remember to rate and subscribe, give us 5 stars, leave a hilarious comment wherever you do comment stuff. Apple Podcasts is really happy about us right now. They put a fade on us. No, I'm just kidding. You can check out at 2 Shots Music Pod, the number 2 Shots Music Pod, wherever you follow people. Email us 2shotsmusicpod@gmail.com and tell us all about how you hate we're getting political on the things that affect your music career that you're not reading about. You should thank me. You know what? You should thank me. I had to listen through that fucking hearing and hear Mary Travis talk about Randy and how good he is. Anyway, Randy Travis did an AI song, so fuck that. I'm pissed off at Randy Travis. But anyway, thank you for all your music and your contribution to country. Randy Travis, you're a great artist. But you can check out 2 Music Shots, 2 Shots Musical, whatever it is. I don't give a fuck. You guys, you look great. Write a song. Don't worry about SCOTUS. Don't worry about all this stuff. Write a great song. Go play a great show. Make some fans. Have some sex. Drink some drinks. Do some drugs. Do all the things that you're supposed to do. Music is changing people's lives. Coldplay doesn't give a fuck about SCOTUS. You have Michael J. Fox out there that you do those kind of shows. You know what? Make it special, something I can talk about. And until next time, we'll see you later. And we love you. And by the way, there's a bet on who's gonna say cocksucker.
You win. You win.
Or do I lose? We all lose, Stu.
Okay, bye.
Bye.